talking about remote workforce, but first off, why don't we talk about Kevin? What is Kevin? What is Clear Leader Group? Tell us what you do.
Yeah, so thanks, Paul. Glad to be here. Clear Leader Group is a company. My team is designed to help other teams get success out of their people. So specifically, aligning your business strategy with people strategy. If you think about every year, we go out of December with our planning, we create our KPIs, we have rocks, whatever we use to say what our revenue targets are, what we want to hit by December 31. But the thing that's really hard is to align people strategy. So if you think about what Jim Collins said about get the right people in the right seats, it's nice in theory, but most of us don't do it. So we help our folks, we use science to help them define the roles and then get the right people in those roles and see prediction of success in that. It's really good.
So there's those practical things, but we have this kind of historic leadership sort of mentality that says there's an office, we come to it, we do work. I don't know that even absent of this event, I think that was largely changing, and probably over the next 10 or 20 years as the next generation moves into leadership positions, things would probably be different. But now that we're doing it fast, how do leaders really work through transition and set their organizations up well? So what you mentioned are some practical things that people can do. So what does it look like from the leadership perspective to help the company and the whole organization transition, 100% or part? There's some jobs you can't transition, but yeah. How do we do this well?
So I spoke with one of my president of a company today, and he's got warehouse folks that are doing stuff. They have to physically be there. They have to pick and ship. Yeah. They have things they have to do. But he's got 70% of his force working remote. All the inside salespeople are out. All the outside salespeople are still out. Any role that could be negotiated out is out. So I think part of it, and this will be a good transition for us, is managing people. Mm-hmm. You manage a person, you don't manage their environment. You manage a person, you don't manage groups. You have to deal with the individual, and they all have different needs. And so it's really understanding who's in front of me. Are they socially driven or are they private and reserved? So we'll talk about specifics on that and how I use tools to help my teams do that. Because once I understand the need of that person, then I can predict how they're going to act, and then I can lead them effectively. So let me give you a cool thought. You and I both, I think as Christian leaders, in our heads we go, golden rule, we've heard it forever. But here's the thing, the golden rule doesn't work, that treat others the way you want to be treated. A lot of managers make that mistake. They kind of roll and they go, hey, I'm just going to treat you the way I want to be treated. Clearly, you want to talk out loud like I do. It's not true at all. There's half the people on the planet that don't want to talk out loud. They want to think it out. And so the platinum rule is better. The platinum rule is leading people the way that they need to be led. And so I come to my talkers and I let them talk, and I come to my thinkers, I give them time. So now I've got my team remote. I can't see them. I can't go walk past a cube or an office. I got some challenges on my hand I didn't have before. Yeah. And now I need to know my people. And if I don't know them, I'm going to get some things wrong for sure.
Stuff's been around forever. DISC, Myers-Briggs, Enneagram is getting a lot of popularity in the world today. Divine, your predictive index is kind of your world. Like, how do we utilize those tools, and how do those tools speak to us or tell us,
it's good,
in a remote world, how to manage people?
So whatever tool you use, you have to have a tool. And I think one of the reasons, let me frame up predictive index for me, why I chose it. So I'm an MBTI certified guy, you know that. I've done DISC for years. There's value in all the psychometrics. In fact, the framing of those are very similar. They come from the same historical roots from our country. But I took PI for me specifically because it's a 5-minute assessment that gives me incredible insights on somebody. I don't have to guess. So if you're not using a tool, or you're not as intuitive as Paul Sponsi is, because Paul's actually really talented, intuitive, you had a really natural gut sense read on people. It's hard, not natural for a lot of leaders. Many of them are very pragmatic and practical, and they see it and they can't read beyond that. So it's hard. So if you don't have an assessing tool, then you're on your own, and then you're watching behavior and you're guessing at the drives. So I wanted a tool, this is the word that came to me when I started my company. I wanted a tool that I could embed in an organization that would help them self-manage without having to be dependent on me as a consultant. So the software allows them to actually self-manage their people. So for example, the same client I mentioned earlier, he's pulling off his KPI rocks for how he wants his managers working with his remote teams. And he's pulling it out of the software, and he's pulling out relationship charts, personal development charts. It's all there based on not guesses, but actually how that person's wired.